absolute pleasure to welcome each and every one of you to the Cyber Symposium 2023. As we started our last couple of days, we share our expertise and we are very much gratitude with our experience and engaging with you. As a special thanks to all our partners, our customers, and expert, and our esteemed speakers, and all of participants for their individual contributions. These past days have been a deep dive into the dynamic world of cybersecurity, AI, and blockchain. Today, we have very knowledgeable guest of a panel today, where first we start with Tamika from T12 Technology. She shared her expertise and collaborative idea how we are work together. After that, Lindsay from Burlington Mercer Chamber of Commerce, she shared the value of cybersecurity in a business, as well as she is share her expertise how she helping a business to uh, to align their strategy and works. Also, we have uh, expert talk with Asima Bawa. She is also helping a business uh, to grow, as well as she is one of the dean as well as professor at Thapar University. She is sharing her work experience with you. So, without any further waiting, I would like to invite Dr. Shashi to just start and introduce our first guest of honor. Thank you. Please join us, Shashi, on the stage.
Thank you, Nehalji. A very good morning, good evening to all the audiences. Welcome to Rainbow Secure Cyber Symposium Week 4. It's my profound privilege to announce the speaker for today and introduce her. Tamika Chance is the founder and CEO of T12 Technologies. Her company is known as a managed service provider who implements IT services, support, and staffing for all type of industries. Tamika served 20 years in US Air Force as vision-minded leader focused on strategically aligning tasks to the mission. Her expertise consisted of managing and maintaining communications technology, cybersecurity, supply and logistics, and equal opportunity and treatment. She earned her bachelor's degree in business administration and has been recognized for several outstanding achievements. She currently serves on the Charles County Chamber of Commerce Business and Education Committee, a graduate of the NASDAQ Entrepreneurial Center Milestone Circles alumni, and an American Council for Technology Industry Advisory Council. I welcome you, Tanika, on the stage. Also, I take this opportunity of welcoming our host for today, Mr. Dhaval Shah. He'll be moderating the session. Thank you, Tanika.
Thank you. Good morning to everyone and welcome. I'd like to first thank Nihal and Cheval for inviting T12 Technologies to be a part of this wonderful cyber symposium. As stated, my company's T12 Technologies, and today I'd just like to have a conversation about how asset management and configuration management plays a huge role in cybersecurity. So I have a few slides I like to share. And I hope everyone can see them. All right.
Yes, we can see it. We can see it.
Very good. Okay, so we're T12 Technology. Our managed service provider. So I'd like to talk about some of the businesses that we support. And this is very important because cybersecurity is for everyone. So some of the businesses we support are Chamber of Commerce, family therapy offices, the Indian Health Services, contractors, builders, and hospitals. And we provide the full hosted cloud services or cloud infrastructure for a variety type of organizations. And we love to have them focus on being just like the larger businesses when it comes to modernization and new technology. But with that cost, it also comes with being very cyber aware and being able to educate them on maintaining a cybersecurity posture. So if we're supporting organizations that are just so different and so varied, where does the cyber fit in? How does the cyber fit in for these different types of organizations? So, cybersecurity practices for us, we always think security, security, security. We must think about security. And as a managed service provider, we have to ensure that there's data encryption. We're being compliant to all things, definitely for remote services or remote support. Are we looking at transmissions? Are we making sure that these are true people or have true accessibility to infrastructures and services for our companies that we support? Making sure that there's a multi-factor authentication and it's very secure. This is where we love to partner with our organizations like Rainbow Secure and our multi-factor authentication processes, and definitely having regular audits. And what we mean is we always have to ensure if we have hardware or software or anything within our environment, whether virtual or physical, that we ensure they have the latest updates. That there are the older versions of things. Our focus at T12 Technologies is really from an asset management, accountability standpoint, knowing what you have in your environment. So we always say you can't protect what you don't know you have. So you must always, from the beginning and the build of our managed service infrastructures or physical aspects, know everything from the time that you procure until the time of disposal. So you take accountability and you do assessments and updates and monitor from one side to the other. So even in small environments or in large environments, there are certain roles that can help you protect what you don't know. And there are people that will find it for you or help you locate it and help you protect it. So whether it's your IT infrastructure or it's your hardware builds or you're getting laptops that have certain chips within those environments, there are people who are specialized, and there are policies and procedures that are built just to ensure that you're being cyber ready. So we have configuration managers, as you can see here on the screen. The configuration managers in organizations, this term is used a lot in IT, of course, but there's a form of configuration managers as in other organizations, as you see that we cover, like in construction or in the health space. There may not be called configuration managers, but they have that same job. And that is to make sure that if there are any changes, updates, additions, anything inside an environment that needs to be monitored from a cyber perspective, they know where it is, when it happened, real-time updates, and they control everything in that environment. That makes the configuration managers very important. And then they have a team under them, which are your asset managers, who are mainly IT or things within a property. They handle everything. And then you have property managers who are maybe on um, real property and non-real property, which are things or buildings or equipment. So they keep accountability of those items and they feed it to that configuration manager to say that we're doing correct practices to make sure that we have accounted for everything in our environment and we have ensured that they are cyber ready by executing documentation that says we have made certain changes or we have added things to the environment to make not only the configuration managers but the organization aware of what's going on in their environment. And then we have our quality managers to say, are we following those rules? Not only just rules of the organization on how to document or how to keep up with things, but are we doing it in the best way possible? And are we meeting compliance standards? That is so important when you're trying to be cyber ready because we found that there are incidents where if you're not following certain standards, you're most vulnerable. And who else can help? It's, of course, the entire organization. Everybody pitches in to help us be cybersecurity ready when it comes to assets and IT assets, whether it's construction assets, whether it's health assets, anything virtually or physically that's in the environment, everyone can help to ensure that we are cyber ready. So let's talk about configuration management. T12 Technologies, as we stated, as a managed service provider, we host a lot of our solutions for our clients on the cloud. So way long time ago, and some organizations may have that still because slowly they're transitioning to cloud. Um, Configuration managers really had to really diagram everything, every hardware, every desk, every chair, every person. Configuration management includes all things. Now that we're doing on the cloud, the role of the configuration manager kind of changed. So now we have configuration managers for cloud services and not just for the physical environment. It wouldn't also include those that are things that are physical, but now they're built within a hosted infrastructure virtual. And we're seeing that there's virtual environments within Microsoft Azure or Amazon Web Services where organizations just utilize those platforms versus physical aspects, physical hardware. So the configuration management manager for cloud services still does those same things as far as the security and the monitoring. They document everything, the architectures, the versions control, the new additions and modify within the environment. But they do this a little bit more diligently with our infrastructure team because they're on a hosted environment. They're virtually in the cloud, and there are more incidents, and we'll show in a second, there are more incidents on hosted environments that are not configured properly. And that is due to not ensuring that there are great configuration management processes as cloud services are being built. So it's very important to have a configuration manager that understands the platforms, whether it's Microsoft, AWS, or Google, and how they're interacting and how they're being built from an architectural standpoint. So you know where to insert your best cyber practices. You know how to monitor your infrastructures and network, and you can resolve any issues quickly to avoid cyber incidents. And this is just a brief slide. We know about the configuration management process. Some may and some may not, but this kind of go back to what I was speaking of the different roles within configuration manager. Um, Test management and release management were some of the older terms that were in configuration management, but I feel that they're still important. We talked about the asset and property management, and they take control of everything after procurement, or sometimes they're part of the procurement team. One thing I want you to remember that cybersecurity practices start from the time of procurement. Once you know is going to be added in your environment, you should have your team already thinking about how we're going to protect it once it gets to that environment. And that's why your asset manager and your property manager should be a part of that security conversation. So your cyber team and your security team can be ready to protect your environment before it even touches in within the infrastructure. And your change manager, as you may have heard, they really got to be responsible for making sure that they have noted and documented everything that has changed in your environment. Just that role by itself is really where your accountability is, and you can find out where your cyber holes are along with working with your security managers. You should be able, through your test processes, also find out where your vulnerabilities may be. That's when you will find out that maybe some things aren't configured properly, or maybe the right update isn't on a system or in your infrastructure. And I just want you to know this is just not on a network. These same processes is for physical hardware too. So I want you to think about this. If you've heard about the chips, okay, if you're purchasing laptops and certain chips you can't have in because of where they're made, it's because some of them have cyber vulnerabilities in those chips. So, to make sure you don't have incidents in your environment, you have to look at certain products and hardware um, before you introduce them to your environment. So you would test those things before, you would do your research before. And last but not least, if you once you test, you release these things into your network, into your organization, and your environment, you should have already caught everything and it's good and resolved. And now you're ready to push it out, and then you monitor your environment to keep everything updated. So those things move up into configuration management. So I'll wrap up this morning. I really thank you for your time. But as I stated, we hear that 80% of all cyber incidents are due to improper or unconfigured environments, meaning there was no updates done, which we call patching. If you're unaware, patching is late, updates aren't done, hardware is out of warranty, so it becomes vulnerable because it can have no more updates. The software presents vulnerability. So there's a 80% in the last 2022 into June 2023. 80% of the cyber incidents was due to these unconfigured environments. So your configuration manager is so important. So within our world as a managed service provider, configuration management is key. Configuration management is the top of our list, and our cloud configuration managers are our most important people in our environment. So, thank you very much for your time today, and I hope that you gained something from our presentation. Thank you.
Absolutely, Tamika. It was a really great presentation. You really touch upon the important areas of, managing the security configuration, managing actually the vulnerabilities. That's a very key to have a, better cybersecurity posture. And you rightly said that proper security configuration is like a first line of defense against cyber threats. And also you mentioned that, how you should be approaching the security configuration. So now, with that said, I have some other follow-up questions for you. So, from your experience, what were some common challenges that businesses you think are facing when they want to deploy effective security configurations, because not everybody is tech savvy, not everybody is cyber savvy. And how you take handle that, how you advocate for that with businesses, and how businesses struggle to prioritize that while doing the regular other functions of the business.
Yeah, so a lot of businesses struggle from the beginning to just be safe and secure. And the main reason I found, definitely when organizations are migrating over, or is they just don't know what they have. And there's there are items, or there are infrastructure, or assets that they never thought would be cyber affected. So the hardest thing that we're seeing is identifying clearly what an environment has, and then clearly showing them how to be cyber ready, and what that means. So cyber thinking, cyber training is needed in more smaller environments and businesses, to help them be cyber ready.
Right, right. Yeah. I think it's like a balancing act between the security and staying agile and focused to achieve your business goals. The more I
That's
think
right.
we educate business to understand that cybersecurity is also part of your business function, where it is like an technology is like a growth enabler, then cybersecurity is something that adds up like a catalyst to that growth. Because if business got impacted, like, and you can say that if someone got impacted even with the slightest smallest kind of hack, but then it, like, drains down the energy of the entire IT and security teams, business. They cannot access certain systems for a day or two just because we are taking precautions, trying to sniff out the things. And, like, it's like, it's affecting business continuity. So I think you rightly said that business has to understand that what is affecting them and what steps that they can take. And I think security partners like T12 and Rainbow Secure can help the business take that steps towards, like, better security posture. Now,
Absolutely.
have you seen something like recent days? Everybody talks about AI. Now, what do you see in that business conversations? Because everybody now wants to use AI to get the things done, and how you perceive that both as an opportunity and threat towards the business cybersecurity.
Oh, okay, very good. So, as we all know, AI has evolved, but it's been here forever, right? It's just evolved. And I would say the benefit of AI, um, first, I like to say AI is multifaceted, multi level, right? And I believe that's the first thing that organizations should understand, that what level of AI can they use in their environment to make things better for them. I believe that AI is very useful for organizations, small or large, in the cyberspace, so we can automate a lot of things. And the fact that if we can detect, and which we do a lot today, detect cyber issues before they go too far, and then use that for data and trending analysis, where we can next time prevent a lot of these things, that AI is very helpful for those things. The only thing that I would say may be a downside to AI is just the unknown. It's just people, honestly, understanding how AI works. It's not taking over you. It is enhancing what you want your environment to do. So you feed it what it needs to feed, but you must make sure your processes and your policies and everything is updated first before you try to implement AI practices into your environment. So for me, that's why it goes back to knowing what you know, having the processes that you need, make sure they're quality, they're standard and compliance, implementing AI practices, beat cybersecurity incidents.
Yes, yeah, truly mentioned that yes, AI is not a threat actually, but it's an opportunity for the business. It's all about how business perceives it, and T12 and Rainbow Security is always here to help the business to use the AI securely. Whether it's securely configuring the ChatGPT, protecting your ChatGPT logins, or even setting up a dedicated AI mechanism, AI servers just for your business so that data remains private. Because everybody's today scared about, hey, if I put something in ChatGPT, it's available to everyone in the world. Yes, if you don't do the thing, then it is. But if you take proper steps, right, like either establishing your private instance or turning off certain flags and certain configurations, if you do, then your business got an opportunity to use the AI engine, AI model that is behind the ChatGPT for your own business. So that's where our security and AI collaboration comes into the play. And we highly value the AI development recently, and that's why Rainbow Security is also providing AI monitoring on the back end to handle the security threats, and our collaboration will continue on that. Now I have one question for you. For the companies who are looking to strengthen their security configuration, from where they should start, what's advice for them?
So where should they start for security configurations, right? So I would say that they should really seek out strong security organizations and companies. They don't have to be large. They can be any size, small, medium, large. You need to seek out those that know. A lot of times I see organizations that say, I have a security person in my organization, but really they do information assurance, right? Or they're just a small portion of the cybersecurity conglomerate. So you need to find organizations that specialize in cybersecurity and learn from them. Get an assessment done on your environment. I believe the first start is get your environment assessed and see where you stand, and then determine from that assessment how many cyber practices you have or don't have, and what you need to implement or don't implement, and then let an expert come in and do that for you and teach you. Because I believe from us, you plan it and you plan an assessment, you get an assessment, you correct your findings, and you learn in training in the middle of that on how to monitor and minimize any incidents that you have. Every organization must learn how to do this, not for themselves, but get the experience from an expert organization like Rainbow Secure.
Yes. I think security collaboration and finding what's actually gonna bothering you, or mm, bothering your business, both from security and compliance stand. So, like, yeah, discovering the unknowns is the key to successful business continuity and cyber resilience. Yes. Now, I have one question for, if you can share your experience where you see that strategic security partnership has played a vital role for the business. Any example that you can share to our audience?
Yeah, absolutely. So being a managed service provider, what I when I first started off, um, there were other organizations who I tried to seek out, right, the expertise who I who thought just having a Microsoft platform was enough for security. So my lesson learned there was that I needed to partner with other organizations or third-party organizations to ensure that my infrastructure, our hosting platforms were protected. Right? So not just one solution fits the bill for every type of incident or vulnerability that may come into your environment. So from my experience, in hosting and keeping everyone else's services straight, I needed to partner with organizations that understood that kind of cyber posture for my cloud services at that time, because I did not. So that was my lesson learned.
And I think that's a very powerful example of how right partnership can not only solve the problems but also add value to the business.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Now, finally, to wrap it up, thank you, Tamika. It was a great, insightful talk that you presented, and you really highlighted the key challenges that business face and how right configuration can save the day. Once again, I would like to extend a heartfelt thanks for joining the platform today and talk about best practices and how we jointly help the businesses. And thank you very much once again. We will always be here to collaborate and work with you, and I know you are always there for us. So without much have a good day and best luck for all
Right.
your continued success.
Thank you very much again, and y'all have a wonderful day in this great symposium.
Yeah, take care.
Bye-bye.
Now I'd like to invite Dr. Sasi to introduce our next guest, Miss Lindsay.
Thank you, Dhawal sir. Thank you, Tabika, for an amazing presentation and your insights. Now, I would like to take the opportunity of introducing our next guest speaker for the day, Lindsay McLean. Lindsay, she is a secretary and business advisor at Burlington Mercer Chamber of Commerce. I would request Lindsay, ma'am, to kindly throw some light on her profile for us.
Hey, thank you for having me.
Hello, good
Just
morning,
I
and
wanted to let you
thank you.
I wanted to let you know that I'm currently at an airport waiting to get on a plane, so it might be a little noisy in here, and I apologize in advance. So my name is Lindsay McClellan. I'm the business administrator for the Burlington Mercer Chamber of Commerce. We're a small 501c6 organization. We're a nonprofit, and it's mostly volunteers. I'm their only paid employee, and I do work part time for them. So we're a small chamber of commerce, and we need all the help we can get. As Tamika was talking, she was saying about all the different vulnerabilities. I think we checked every single category when she was listing all the vulnerabilities. Um, we have old systems, we have diverse systems. Um, all our systems are kind of patchworked, and um, since it's volunteers mostly, and I am not as computer literate as I probably should be, sometimes our updates don't done and it's done and we for being vulnerable in cyberspace. So Rainbow Secure is one of our newer chamber members, and about 3 or 4 months ago they came to us and they were telling us about how vulnerable our website was. So they helped us secure our website, and why that's important to us. Important, God forbid something happens to me, we need people to pull use and go in and make updates to our web. So it's so secure. Was able to institute a really um, easy, easy to use, simple that even I could understand way to secure our website, and it's very easy to use, and it gives us lots of peace of mind knowing that we're not going to be one of the ones having our website help ones get our website back up and running. So offered to help us secure our chamber website as a nonprofit nonprofit, it was a very good thing for us. And again, it's easy to use. It doesn't take a lot of our nonprofit website. So I'm not sure, but like something about our chamber. Again, almost all businesses and are not to tell you about profit. You would
Thank you very much, Lindsay, for those nice words and really taking time for us this morning out of your busy schedule. I know you are at airport about to board the plane, but you are here to support us, and we really value that. We also value your help and nourishment in the New Jersey businesses and how you're helping them go forward. So we really appreciate all the hard work you put. I know it's volunteer organization, still you put a lot of hard work into making the business a success. And we are here always for the chamber and the chambers, the business members to successfully grow securely in this online digital world. So once again, Rainbow Secure team and entire Rainbow Secure community extends heartful thanks this morning for Lindsay and Wellington Mercer Chamber of Commerce. Thank you.
okay. Is there
Lindsay, I cannot hear you. Can you repeat?
anything you would have liked me to cover more?
No, I'm good. If you have some time, like you can talk more about the chamber, or I think we are good for today.
You know what? I think I'm losing. I'm gonna
Okay,
have to say
no problem.
goodbye.
Yeah, thanks again for joining us. It was nice to again see you this morning. All right, Lindsay. Understand you are at the airport and facing the internet challenges. Thanks for joining again, and yeah, I think you're good to go for your flight. Take care. Now I'd like to invite Dr. Sasi to introduce our next guest for the day.
Thank you, Dhaval. So, thank you, Lindsay, for joining us from the airport. Really honored. I'm thrilled, delighted, and honored to introduce our guest speaker for today, Dr. Seema Bawa. She's Dean Outreach and Professor, CAC, the Upper Institute of Engineering and Technology. Dr. Seema Bawa is a distinguished academic leader who brings a wealth of experience to her roles. With an impressive 24 years of teaching experience, she has mentored both PhD and MTech students, guiding them through their academic journeys. I am honored to be one of them. Her dedication to research is evident in her extensive body of work, consisting of numerous commendable research papers in the field of computer science and engineering. Dr. Seema Bawa's contributions to education and research make her a prominent figure in academia. Dr. Seema currently serves as Dean of Outreach at Thapar Institute of Engineering and Technology, where she plays a pivotal role in establishing industry partnerships, community engagement, and fostering a global academic network. I will be short of words if I am to explain the magnanimity of her persona. I have tried to talk a little bit about her professional life. Her personal life is as charismatic as one can imagine. I would request ma'am to kindly speak a few words about herself and share her insights on navigating challenges and opportunities of user authentication in the era of digital transformation in the education sector. Ma'am, over to you.
Good morning, good evening, everyone. Am I audible and visible?
Yes, ma'am.
So, thank you so much, first of all, for having me here. It's indeed a pleasure to share my experience at such a profound forum where I saw I had been listening to other speakers and I know about this Rainbow Secure from, of course, Dr. Shashikar Hell. Yes, she had been my student, and we did a lot work on cybersecurity itself. That had been her research area with me, and in my responsibilities also, I had been looking after the entire network of Thapar Institute for more than 12 years in the beginning, and then talking about the challenges or what are the opportunities lying, especially the sub area which I have selected today about user authentication will be a pleasure uh, sharing with you. So just keep me engaged, involved if you have anything to ask in between or can drop in the chat box. And with that, I would like to start my presentation. And yes, I had been working as a professor since 24 years in this university. And along with this, talking about the real life issues of managing the students, their spaces, their digital spaces, their resources is one of the extra privileges. And talking as a dean outreach, a lot to share with the world what we have in Thapar Institute and learn from the organizations like Rainbow Secure and others. So, we will specifically talk about what are the challenges which we are facing now because of so much of transformation which we have seen in education sector as well, especially after COVID-19, because now the online mode is so much in, right? Students, even the teachers, initially maybe they were a little bit hesitant or not into that, but now everyone wants and has the privilege of working with the technology, and therefore there are the challenges, there are the opportunities. So we will talk about in this today's era of digital transformation, especially in education sector, uh, how the landscape is evolving, digital landscape, and how a profound transformation is taking place, and how especially in my university we are taking care of that aspect. So I'll share that experience with you all. At the heart of this transformation, to begin with, I would like to focus upon lies the user authentication, which today we'll be focusing a little bit more. And this user authentication has a significant impact on security per se, the overall efficiency, the user's experience, and overall purpose of education, uh, as well as overall enrichment of quality of life, which is the somewhere the objective of education as such. What's the need for improvement in strategies, in processes, in infrastructure, in technologies, how to use AI or specifically generative AI. That also maybe I'll share at the later part. Little bit about Thapar Institute of Engineering and Technology, Patiala in Punjab, that's north of India. And this university started in 1956, more than 6 decades now. It was a college when it was founded, and then became a deemed university in 1985. Uh, Initially known for its engineering programs, right? Uh, it has a name for engineering programs since 6 decades, but later we added to the feather of TIET management, and then there's an off-campus in Dera Basi near Chandigarh. In 2015, TIT embarked upon the contemporization, and then the whole world knows about engineering program of Thakur Institute, along with that sciences and liberal arts, and now even law is in our platter, going to be offered very soon. And not only just the programs are being added, but their breadth and depth and horizons are actually. So we are featuring in NIRF. This is ranking as far as Indian universities are concerned. In 2023, we are 20th in the India, and the international rankings also. Thapar is featuring in very high bracket of within 200 engineering institutions, especially our uh, computer science and engineering programs, and all other programs are also doing remarkably well. So I took this opportunity to share a little bit about Thapar institutions so that we have a background of what are the challenges which our students, the plethora of programs which we are offering, and therefore managing this digital transformation in education, what practical aspects we are facing or taking care of. So once we say digital transformation, it's basically to do with integration of digital technologies. And of course, it means a shift from education institution operation in traditional way to digital transform, right? Like talking about LMS, lecture management, learning management systems, without which now we just cannot talk about teaching a particular subject or a project. So digital platforms like enterprise resource planning have to be in place and effective and efficient. We have to have a LMS and users, our students, our teaching associates, our faculty, our evaluators, our placement people, industries, companies who are coming to us, they need to be hooked into the system with proper authentication and authorization. We have to evaluate the students digitally in online form. Not only that, we have to make ebooks, e-resources, e-journals available so that we, even the faculty, even the research portfolio of the institution goes higher. The softwares, academic softwares for students, and why not the library, software services, library, books, ebooks, subscriptions, etc., need to be taken care of by the same university's network management cell, or now it's a full-fledged department in itself. So we'll talk about the Wi-Fi issues or problems, or how to provide solutions for virtual private networks, access systems, and much more. So as I already pointed out, mentioned that there's acceleration of this transition due to the recent global events, specifically this COVID-19, where physical things were just not happening, and therefore online we have to make things available and learn and provide. So, ensuring a secure environment, we just cannot afford vulnerability. We just cannot afford unauthorized access to any user or evaluator of the text, of the material, of the marks, of, for example, a student, to anyone who is not authorized. Say a teaching associate can be involved in LMS just as a guest, but cannot change the grades or marks awarded by a teacher who's authorized.
Can I interrupt you for a second, Miss
Sure,
Seema?
sure,
We are
sure.
not able to see the slides. We can see your homepage, but we could
Oh,
not see the
really?
other slide. Yeah.
Uh, what about now?
Yeah, we can see your slide. It's just that it did not move from the one slide to another one. Right now, we see the slide of Introduction to Digital Transformation. That's a slide visible.
Okay, okay. So now this is the slide. All right.
Yes. Yeah. Mhm.
I'm sorry for that. Yeah.
No worries. Yeah, sorry for interrupting you.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can continue.
So So the background of the challenge which are there in providing the authorization to the any user of an institution or specifically Thapar Institute is we have to produce engineers from day one. So our curriculum, our schemes, our lecture contents, our projects, like we have experiential learning for the students, like providing mangonel or buggy projects, experiential learning, everything should be authenticated, everything should be available from day one, starting from even the attendance online, how many students are attending. So that gives a little bit of background of the challenges lying in our kind of scenario. So the policies of institution have to be student centric, and even the resources utilization, e-resource utilization as well. So this just gives a glimpse of. I hope the slides are moving now. I'll just cross check once again.
Yes, yeah, they are moving. Slides are moving. Yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful. So just a little bit of introduction. Authentication provides the verification of identity of users, who the users is, and with changing scenario, the password alone, even though yes it is password is used in every authentication, without password, even though it is vulnerable, we cannot move, but only password is not good enough. So we'll talk about how the multiplicity of verification is being handled here, like maybe a OTP, like maybe a biometric we'll talk about. So, a strong authentication mechanism is needed to ensure that sensitive data like marks or grades, student records, are accessed only by authorized persons like their teachers and evaluators. If these are grades of a placement company who is coming, of course, no one else should be able to see or manipulate the data. We have to ensure the academic integrity by verifying the identity of students, say during online examinations and assessments, allowing for a personalized learning experience so that every student can learn with their own pace. Some students learn faster, another might be a little bit slower, or complexity level. So that these becomes a life challenges while dealing with variety of the students. There could be online, there could be UG students, there could be postgraduate students, there could be PhD students, there could be faculty, there could be just staff, right? Academic staff taking care of the entire system. Of course, the recommendation systems, the letter of recommendations need to be given to the right universities. So within from one university to another university, or to academia, to from academia to institutions to other industries, how the interaction needs to take place and what are the challenges there. So currently, as I said, the authentication method which are quite frequently used, or rather mostly used, is password-based authentication, which remains the most common method despite of its vulnerabilities. Adding to that is biometric authentication. Even in front of the classrooms, the biometric systems have been placed, where we use unique biological characteristics like fingerprints or facial patterns, which is now quite common. Smart cards, for example, in library, the library card is a smart card, or maybe some tokens could be provided for physical evidence of authentication. We can add OTP, for example. We do add OTP in more financial transactions, just as once we have to log into a bank, along with my user ID and password, I need a OTP, and maybe before that, a captcha as well. So there are multiplicity of authentication method which are needed now to ensure the dynamic authentication. One user want to log in various systems, maybe on mobile itself and the office PC, or maybe at the home there's another gadget. And so how the dynamic authentication method needs to be taken care of, that is also one of the live concern today. Of course, there's another method. Sometimes we forget passwords, or there is a breach of trust. So security questions is another method which is used, which provides an additional layer of defense, often in combination with any of the above method, or maybe something extra as well. Yeah, I'll just talk about some challenges. Very little bit funny words, say password fatigue, and which even most of the users face now, that there's so many passwords. There's so many services which we use on and off every day, for example, and very difficult to remember the passwords. So due to this password fatigue, there's an overwhelming number of passwords which we need to remember, and we goof up at times, often leading to weak passwords, for example, name of the sun, or anything which we love so close to us. So, in education spaces like us, there are new age applications or cloud services, or there is something on edge, some edge devices, some other applications. So, how to deal with multiplicity of passwords? Because there are password reset hassles. Sometimes it's so easy that you just ask for a reset. It gives you some OTP on your mobile or email, and you are able to reset that. But then there are security risks. uh, Passwords complexity at times is key. You just cannot have a simple characters based password or just numbers. You need to have some special character as well. So maybe these are very small things, but we just cannot let it be the way it is. If a password need to be strong, we have to make it strong. Sometimes password need to be changed frequently. Say if I shared some password during one special assessment, I have to change it the very next time in the next session. Or sometimes the students are appearing for a online test of a company in from hostels. Maybe there's a breach of security. So how to ensure, and therefore these password fatigue need to be taken care of, is taken care of rather very carefully. Multiple accounts, of course, is one of the common reason. Most of us have many accounts on various services, on various platforms. Talking about the major challenge area, the security. No need to mention that in today's age where digital data and education software spaces are most valuable targets, we just, without, if my LMS is not accessible to the students just a day before the examination, the system may simply collapse. It just may not be, there'll be big hue and cry, right? So we have to ensure that the digital data and services and educational softwares, e-resources, etc., which are most valuable, should be, uh, which could be target for cyber criminals, they need to be securely available, right? So security remains to be one of the biggest challenge in why only educational institution, rather everywhere, and therefore it's the prime responsibility to deliver teaching and encourage the learning environment for the students. And there are methods which we are going to talk about, including cyber attack due to access breach. We have to take care of that. Protecting the sensitive data, right? Because some data may not be that sensitive, like the name, roll number of the students, the public credentials, while the marks, for example, uh, are sensitive. How to protect that? Safeguarding against unauthorized access. So that's why maybe there's a web kiosk, and Web kiosk has an intranet and internet separately, which we have bifurcated. Intranet access is from within campus. Any student or faculty can access, but through internet, the parents who are not within the campus, they need to, and therefore we can check the traffic which is coming from outside, that these must be some parents who are trying to access. So the methods of ensuring the security are slightly different to prevent the data breaches, right? And phishing attacks and malware attacks. So, maintaining security requires a continuous effort from all devices, diverse age groups of educational institution. Here, I would like to mainly tell that the user base, the age group which we face is mostly starting from 18 years and maximum to say 28, 30. Maybe faculty is a little bit older, but we do not have more users who are say 60 plus or 80 plus, very senior citizens, because for them biometric, if we talk about, may not work, but in our case biometric is quite in, right? So that's a robust security solution for authenticating the attendance, for authenticating for example library access, or any specific lab accesses. So many education users are unaware of the threats and best practices for security and are prone to attacks. And that maybe we'll discuss in the very next slide. I'll just take 30 seconds of break. There's something. Yeah, sorry about the interruption. Yeah, so we were talking about the user diversity groups in education. There are different modes, not only that there's a teacher and there are students sitting. Now there could be capstone groups where 4 or 5 students are in a group. There could be ELC group where number of students along with their mentors is bigger. There could be society event where say some 60 students are sitting on one side, there's a debate going on. So based on the requirement of the use case, we have to decide the policy. We have to decide the handle the security concern. What could be the breach of trust there? What could be the scenario which is vulnerable? And then how to take care of that. So just now I talked about security concerns. Another aspect which is to be closely taken care of is user experience, right? Every user, whosoever, whether capstone group students or whether a faculty or an industry mentor, where the students is working for internship, right? Their experience of how the security has been taken care or how they have not faced any issue in, even if their password was missed, even if they have many accounts, even if they had different privileges. To ensure that, we have to use sometimes secure service edge. So there are various services which we take care of, like SWG, Secure Web Gateway. Sometimes we talk about Cloud Access Security Broker, CASP, and very specifically Zero Trust Network Access, ZTNA, to safeguard the users is being used, especially in our case. The beauty is that the users are not aware about such technologies, technological transition, they need not. They are being safeguarded and their experience is good. That's the only our concern as a manager, as a resource provider. So in a user group, we can categorize from 13 to 19 if it's a school, for example. In our case, maybe we start from adults is starting age of 18 to 40, and some matured, say faculty 40 to 60 as well. Senior citizens 60 to 80. Why I'm specifically talking about these categories of ages? Because, as I said, the biometric identity might fade with time if a user group is super senior or 80 or above. So, authentication methods pose various challenges for diverse age groups. I have specifically kept this slide here to give a glimpse of what type of resources, variety of resources could be there which are to be safeguarded and provided to the users. So print books is not the concern here, but yes, the e-books, the e-resources, the e-journals, conference proceedings, thesis and standards which are to be used for various projects and theses, some educational videos, some YouTube videos, some NPTEL videos, or any lecture material. Because in LMS we do provide not only the handouts but the links, the URLs, the reference material, the reference videos, right? For children, the events, the books, the material could be of slightly different nature. We do also have children's section because university is a holistic development. They are reflection spaces. That's the beauty of, for example, a library like us, which is seventh in the world due to its contemporary infrastructure and services. Very recently, Taylor and Francis has come up with a report where this library has been given a seventh number in world, right? So reflection spaces are where uh, we can relax, and reflect upon the learnings which we have taken. And very beautifully crafted, designed, articulated, and managed. These reflection spaces are where, if you want, say, a spiritual experience, the things are available. The app is available, maybe the Heartfulness app. There are material available, the Bible, the Quran, Gita, everything, right? So just with the experience of a touch in reflection spaces, we get those things, right? No authentication, not much authentication needed there because we welcome that experience, that user experience. On the other hand, yes, anti-plagiarism tools which are used by researchers, which are mandatory kind of before sending any publication, any outcome, we have to use this anti-plagiarism tool, Turnitin or Orkund. And of course, uh, professional writing tools, research writing tools, articles, Grammarly. So these were kind of opportunities which I was talking, started talking in between. One very unique aspect which needs the security concern is this library portal, right? So whatever is available in the digital space through the portal, the authorized user through the portal or through a mobile app, they are able to see, browse, and whatever they are authorized for. So, for example, if a book is only single user license the TIT is owning, we just cannot allow access to multiple users at the same time, and that enforcement is to be done. Right? But while there is no restriction of number of users from the service or the resource provider, then we can simply go on with that. Another aspect, ThapperSat, the satellite which is there in Thapar Institute. There are various projects, right? Now, this gives another dimension to the data which university like ours is handling. The data is continuously, dynamically coming to us from a satellite, and various student projects, not only within campus, but some students are on other corner of the world, and there are live projects through data which is being provided to us through satellite is being uh, taken care of with full authentication and authorization. So therefore, challenges in such scenario, which I have elaborated more now, are authentication for adaptive and remote learning, for working remotely, uh, collaborative learning, right? As I said, the projects, some students might not be within campus, might not be of the same discipline, uh, might not be at the same stage of study. Some could be undergraduate students, while mentors could be with industry experience. They are working in the industry. The project is coming live from the industry, and the students and their mentors are providing solution right sitting in the university scenario. So the complex user authentication methods create access challenges to time-based student activities like, as I said, online classes, quizzes, assignments, projects, etc. So multi-factor user authentication methods that rely on these modes like SMS, sometimes we get OTPs via SMS or on email or on mobile, or adding to it maybe biometric or finger touch or mm, face recognition method, or adding with some captcha or some robot, I'm not a robot kind of stuff, right? So these multi-factor user authentication sometimes deter participation of students in time-based activities, that there's so much of stuff coming and I don't want to do that. So therefore, a right balance between that, it should not be too loose also to make it simple, uh, but the steps are to be decided based on the sensitivity of the data and the process. So this adds, it's a common thing that multiple device accesses, there are various devices which are being used in the same project, and in a collaborative kind of environment, uh, we have to ensure the whole purpose is being served. So synchronization issues might arise when updating authentication details on one device but not on other, which happens sometimes. The users access platform from multiple devices, which ensure consistent authentication across devices, they become quite challenging. And biometric data is, privacy is crucial, right? If my biometric itself is leaked, and it happens at times, especially when say for example, the card was to be punched for purpose of attendance, one student will come with 3 4 5 cards and would try to enter attendance of his or her friend as well. So this type of unauthorized access or breaches can lead to irreversible inconsistent data as well. Well, this is a something I try to relate for top down and bottom up approach. Uh, Maybe I'll relate this experience slightly later. So, user satisfaction, uh, as I said, because the students are most impatient at the time, most inquisitive, but at the same time, they want things faster. So users' needs are diverse, but they often prioritize convenience along with security. No compromise on security, but convenience need to be taken care of. So authentication method which are to be adopted, uh, they could be cumbersome or time consuming. As I said, two, three, four types of cross checks, validation, double verification that can lead to frustration and potential security workarounds, and that's why might be used less or preferred less. The cross platform support can ensure that users can access resources regardless of their devices or location, which is preferred, which is needed. And then feedback loops with users is one of the challenge, another challenge, major challenge, which can help in refining authentication methods based on their experience. So you deploy a policy and then take the feedbacks. And surprisingly, what happens, the feedbacks from different types, sets of users is mostly different. The students will prefer one type of method, while the faculty, the senior lot will prefer slightly easier one, while staff will prefer something slightly different or most intuitive one. So that is to be taken care of. That needs to be taken in a balanced way. Customizability, of course, can be done. That for more intellectual lot, you can customize these authentication methods and choose their preferred method so that the users are more satisfied and happy lot. So some of the opportunities I've already spoken a lot about biometric, and this is quite in use in, of course, iPhones. And there was a software which we tried to develop that the students just put their Bluetooth on and the software will detect who all are present in a particular venue, or in a bigger classroom, or in an examination session, or in a society's event or a fair, right? So biometric is quite in, with Bluetooth kind of mm, help of the Bluetooth, we can create the softwares which can automate the and add to the authenticity of the system. Whenever we introduce new thing, new policies, new system, new methods, of course, uh, user training and awareness is a must. So just as this Rainbow Secure is having a symposium and sitting at this time, we are discussing about this. That's a wonderful step, right? Sharing the experiences from people coming from diverse domains, diverse experiences, diverse places, right? So making the people aware of the challenges, the trends which other are facing and how they are coping up. So because the technology is evolving and beautifully evolving, so the users need to be educated continuously on the best security practices, on the best vulnerability trends as well. So regular training sessions can ensure that they are updated, users are updated on the latest threats as well as countermeasures. The some simulation exercises, some practical tips like some mock phishing attempts can be shown to make them aware of, and they can recognize and respond to the threats. And feedback from these sessions can be provided in the form of notes or some small kind of uh, do's and don'ts kind of list, so that insights into the areas that need more focus can be provided. And we need to reinforce the importance of the roles of the security ecosystem, right? So maybe it is a little bit inconvenient, but just avoiding all security methods, because it keeps on asking, do you want, say, second step verification, two-step verification? I've seen mostly users will say no, ये extra headache hai. But no, but if your say mail account is so secure, you just cannot compromise on it. So therefore little bit of trouble is good, or should be taken care of, should be taken, right, to ensure users uh, security, which is paramount. So finally, research and future prospects of user authentication. AI, and specifically generative I would say, because AI is there from decades, right? At least 4 decades I had been seeing. I had seen the days of where Prolog was in Lisp. I used to learn and program with. But today we talk about generative AI like ChatGPT or 4 version, or Bing from Microsoft, or Bard from Google, right? So they are wonderful, this large language model, but we just need to know and appreciate that these are just language models. Authenticity of data, or the right data, is to be architected, is to be ensured and provided. Without that, these large language models cannot do much, right? So, of course, yes, machine learning, which is a statistical analysis, whether clustering or classification, it can predict and identify potential security threats based on the patterns or the vulnerabilities, but which should be used, of course. Biometric advancements, we have already talked about. These may include more unique identifiers like heart rate pattern or typing dynamics. Blockchain, which is another thing which is known for security, this might be used for authentication, ensuring the data integrity and decentralized control because of the very nature of blockchain's immutable property. The quantum computing could revolutionize the encryption method, and quantum computing is also in. It is not that in future sometimes we can use it, but yes, it is right there in making breaches more challenging and making systems more safe and secure. So I would like to add about generative AI. So just as blockchain we had been using since last uh, more than 5 years or so, the lang chain concept is being used in large language models, where we provide our own data. So, for example, I want to create Thapar GPT. It's a language model, but the data should be which is authentic, which is of Thapar Institute, which is secure for Thapar, and there we can use the lang chain concept. So these are the research and future prospects of user authentication, especially in a university environment. I would like to wrap up in next, yeah, 2 3 minutes. So the way forward for user authentication in education system, that we have to consider transforming to SSO and this multi-factor authentication, ensuring a layered defense strategy. So these multi-factor authentication, which I have talked in detail, they provide us various layers of defense, right? A better strategy, a more foolproof strategy, right? So that our systems are more secure, our experience is more happy, and continuous education and training sessions are mandatory, are recommended, are good for users, and they are crucial as well. Should happen. Regular audits and reviews of the system, because always it's the one who is designing, the one who is implementing, will not be good person to review or audit or prove the uh, or find out the faults or improvement areas in the system. So regular audits and reviews should be done, should be carried out to ensure the authentication method uh, to remain robust against evolving threats, against new coming threats, right? So someone should be watchful of what else may go wrong, and then how to cope up that, right? Because in a university system, that's most happening part, that our students become more smarter, right? To find out loopholes, to find out how to crack the system, how to make it how to what vulnerability are still persisting, how to find out that, right? So that's challenging, it's good. So our user satisfaction in education system with the help of feedback mechanism. I have already talked about. It's very much recommended. Feedback of the users who are actually using, right? This leads to a system that aligns closely with the user needs. And finally, keeping abreast of technological advancements, right? Because we never knew even last 5 years back how this generative AI, how this chat GPT is going to simply revolutionize the way we write, the way we perceive, the way we make things, right? Articulate things. So, keeping abreast with technological advancements is a must, has to be done to ensure that the institutions or industry systems are not outdated, they are working, they are practical, they are being used. So, with that, I would like to stop. If there's any question, if there's any.
Thank you, Miss Seema, for a wonderful presentation with enriching content, right from how you are implementing, identity and authentication and different advancements in this field over the years. So we really learned a lot, and it's always happy to collaborate and work with partners like Thapar University and esteemed researchers and scholars like you, who are always our inspiration to provide the best for the industry. And that's where, it's always we say that security collaboration is a way to win over this cyber battle. And uh, keep personalities like you is always there to educate and make sure that it's not about just the education. It's all about also implementing the right choices in the right scenarios. And Rainbow Secure is always here to help the education sector and industry as well as non-profits. As you saw that we had talks today with Miss Tamika, we had chat with Miss Lindsay, and other esteemed speakers that we had with Rainbow Secure over the last 4 weeks. So we are very much thankful to you for joining us today, and I would like to ensure that our audience keeps getting enriched content. So we'll be here every month with a partner or a scholar or an industry leader presenting the talk. And Rainbow Security will always be there to provide a multi-layered defense for whatever use case you are having. Once again, thank you all the speakers, and thank you audience for joining us today. Stay tuned for further announcements on social media, how you can continue your journey of learning and success together with Rainbow Secure. Rainbow Secure thanks all the partners and all the speakers that brought that wide experience and content to the platform. Once again, great thanks from Rainbow Secure team. Bye bye.